Ladies and gentlemen, Madeline Tier Prior has become even more powerful. Unlock her true potential. Hashtag Marvel Future Fight. This is the second and final sneak peek, and it looks like they have copied the sneak peek style from the Mystique one. So let's go ahead and see, try to figure out, wrap our heads around what's going on here. The supervillain with powerful psionic abilities and the ability to change reality has become even stronger through her connection with the hellish dimension of Limbo. Okay, sure. The cloned, I thought it was the clowned Phoenix, but it's the cloned Phoenix, sure. Check out the new powers of this villain who is full of hatred and anger due to her despair. We will announce more information through the patch details later. So, as the nomenclature goes, okay, as history has shown us, when they post this, it means there's no more sneak peeks. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. We're just going to get 2 tier 4s and a uniform for Mystique. That's very possible. I can't say yes for sure, and I'm hoping that there's more to the update, but right now, all we know is a Mystique uniform in tier 4 and a Madeline Prior tier 4. Now, the mid-month updates usually only have upgrades and uniforms, and they usually only have 2. So it's usually, the mid-month is usually like 2 uniforms, 1 tier 3 and 1 tier 4, like that, like so. So this is different for both reasons. One being that there's only 1 uniform instead of 2, and that there's 2 tier 4s instead of 1, and presumably no tier 3s. We don't know exactly what's to come, but yeah. So the tier 4 sneak peek is just for tier 3 animation, and then they use the little 4 on the L, which is what they did for Mystique. So if this is their new their new sort of like template sneak peek, instead of the one where it's in like a laboratory and the character model is just in the middle and it zooms in and it does like a 360, I kind of prefer this one. It's cleaner, and it shows more of like the in-game action, because you actually get to see the in-game character model instead of seeing this really like stiff, lifeless model that's like too high gloss and they have to worry about the lighting and stuff. So yeah, if this is their new template for announcing tier 4s and shit like that, I'm fine with it. Now we have to get through the conversation of what the hell is going on. So, okay, let's first assess the positives about this mid-month update. So, positive number 1, Mystique is finally getting extra value. She came out almost 4 years ago, right? She came out in March of 2020. So she's finally getting some value after 4 years of being released, and after close to 3 years, 2.5 years of being kind of useless. Not exactly useless. Well, maybe not 2.5 years. Okay, like 2 years of being useless, 1.5 years of being useless. It feels like it's a long time. It feels like it's been a long time for Mystique. It hasn't been that long, but she's basically just been a support for a very long time, and now she's not even a support because of characters like Sin. So really nice Mystique's getting a tier 4. Really nice that Mystique is also getting a uniform. Really, really cool stuff there. You know what? It's also good that Madeline's getting a tier 4. We asked for the tier 4 in the main part of the update, and we didn't get it, but we are getting it during the mid-month. So that's cool. Madeline's getting a uniform. Madeline's getting a tier 4. For sure, that means a lot more players are going to be choosing to skip the card this month and get the artifact selector, because yeah, you can select Madeline's artifact, and that's a huge win there. I don't know why they're all in lowercase instead of being in uppercase. Every artifact before then was all uppercase, and then the team decided, okay, let's just do lowercase. Sure, it's probably a new team, probably like some bunch of interns that they're not really paying properly. Sure, whatever. Anywho, I don't blame you, and I think you should absolutely pick up this artifact if you have Madeline built up, or if you're going to be building her up in the next month. You should absolutely pick it up. Don't panic if you can't pick it up this month. It'll be around for a couple of months because it was just added. You can see it goes all the way back 2 updates, so you have 2 more update cycles essentially before it gets cycled out. So you have the February update, you have the March update. Only for the April update, I believe, will this one finally be gone. So you do have 2 more chances after this to get it. And who knows? Maybe they'll give Madeline's artifact away for free in the personal vault selector. Or in the personal artifact vault. Okay, so that's basically all the good news. Now, let's talk about the bad news. Potentially, the mid-month doesn't include anything else, which means that Exodus remains a useless tier 2. That's a big L in my opinion. I think it's a huge waste, and I think it's just a mistake. If the update has nothing but Mystique and Madeline, it also means that Cyclops tier 4 is going to remain without a uniform. In my opinion, that's a massive, massive L. And I think a lot of the people that tier 4 Cyclops are going to feel stupid because they were telling everybody, you know, don't worry, guys. Cyclops is definitely going to get a uniform for the mid-month. Ha ha ha. Yo, it's going to be so funny when he gets a uniform and he pops off. It's not really funny right now. I would honestly, if you have a friend who has Cyclops tier 4, I would check in on them, make sure they're doing okay. They might, you know, need someone to talk to, a shoulder to cry on, that type of thing. So yeah, definitely. And then not really as important, but there's also the possibility that we don't even get a uniform collection for this update, which in my mind, it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, it's like, are they so lazy? Are they so, like, are there so few devs working on the game now? I don't really know how to interpret that if that's the case. I'm obviously doing a lot of speculation, saying there's a possibility that there isn't going to be a uniform collection. That's not a guarantee, of course. There could be. But right now, we only have 2 uniforms. We have we have Rachel, and we have Mystique. That's it. It's just Rachel. There's just 2 uniforms right now. And you need at least 3 or 4 to make, you know, a uniform collection. That's 3. That's Domino, Cable, and Strife, and then the new character, Omega Red. I think 3 is the minimum here. So I don't really see them doing less than 3. So either there's going to be another uniform part with Mystique and Madeline, or there's going to be a third part to this update. Also possible, for sure. It's absolutely possible there's going to be a part 3 for this update. We already talked about why it's possible there's a part 3 for the update, because there's a February update event that's already been revealed through the Luna Snow icon. And the Luna Snow icon, of course, is going to happen before the next full update, right? Because they wouldn't reveal the theme of the next full update through an icon. So this has to either pertain to Madeline and Mystique, or pertain to something that's going to come a couple of weeks later. So yeah, really confused right now with the game's direction. The devs seem to be making a lot of mistakes and also changing a lot of the formulas in a way that is uncomfortable for the player base. That's not really what you want to do, especially when you're not making anything else more comfortable for the player base. You know, like if they were adding more tier 4s and doing other things, but they were adding more tier 4 materials, then that's great. But now we're going to have 3 tier 4s in an update cycle instead of 2, instead of 1, and they still have not increased the tier 4 material drops. So yeah, if I was a whale who was spending money to tier 4 every single character, I would strongly consider stopping. I don't really know what the devs are thinking right now. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just like seriously asking a critical thinking question. Why would you release not 1, not 2, but 3 tier 4s in an update cycle, and then elect to not give one of them a uniform? What's the thinking here, right? At this point, there's really no logic at all. And then you further have to ask yourself the question, why didn't they give Madeline the tier 4 at the beginning instead of Cyclops? Did they really need 2 weeks to work on her tier 4? I find that hard to believe. I think that's basically impossible. So they could have released Madeline as tier 4. The update would have been more well received and it would have been less mocked. And then they could have elected to still give Cyclops tier 4 with Mystique. Or if they had come up with a solution between the update and now, they could have done something else, and they could have avoided the shame and the embarrassment and the confusion of the player base by doing this, by giving a tier 4 to a character who doesn't deserve it and doesn't have a uniform to show for it. I really think that whoever is running the show at Netmarble, at Marvel Future Fight, the Netmarble Monster, I really think that they need, you know, to sober up and reevaluate their decision making, because it's apparent that they don't know how to run this game. And if anyone at Marvel is watching or listening, I urge you to get into contact with the people there and figure out what's going on and make sure that their roadmap is not a bunch of scribbling on the back of a Chuck E. Cheese menu. You know, this is not a Chuck E. Cheese game. This is a respectable game that's been around for a long time. It has a very dedicated player base, and it is disheartening to see the people running the show treat the game with such little respect. You know, confusing the player base, changing things on a whim, changing long-standing practices, and sort of the rhythm of the updates, completely throwing that out the window in favor of just, in my opinion, bullshit and stupid ideas, and all for what? For cash, I guess, to just bait the few players who will buy these packs, and to bait the few players who can't resist tier 4ing every character. So they tier 4 a shit character like Cyclops, and they're going to tier 4 Madeline, and they're going to tier 4, you know, Mystique, and they're just going to keep buying packs. Like, you know, we might have a few of those players left in Marvel Future Fight, but they're going to dry up, and then the game is going to be dead. So I really think now is the time to make good decisions and to show good leadership, rather than to shove your head up your ass and then slam your head on the keyboard and see what happens. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. I'm for sure gonna tier 4 Madeline. For sure, I'm gonna tier 4. She's gonna be you know, an absolute headache in PvP. You're gonna want to give her a mighty or a brilliant CTP of authority. So I actually might. You know what? There's still an unequipped discount. How long is on the unequipped discount? I might just swap her over to a brilliant right now, because yeah, it's ending in 1 day. Okay, so the unequip event is going to end after we see the patch notes, but before the update lands. So I highly recommend, if you're a competitive player for PvP and you have a spare brilliant authority, or you have one on a character that's not as good, like for example, I have one on Kang. I think I'm probably going to swap it off Kang. Do so for Madeline, because I think Madeline is going to become an absolute force to be reckoned with now that she gets her tier 4. Anywho, that's the sneak peek. That's basically all we got. We'll have the patch notes tomorrow, so we can see more of what's in store. But right now, I am very bewildered, and I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.